Okay, so this time we're gonna try and keep our choices to the White Queen, where we're doing her makeup this time. After waking up and being nursed back to health by her, she leaned in toward my touch, looking as if she would kiss me, and caused my heart to flutter and blood to rush to my head. Fiddling with the makeup tools, I retreated. Oh. Chess time at the party, though. I would say the same to you. At the very least, the Duchess would hesitate to hurt me, for I am the White Queen. However, you are Alice. I know. In that case, I can't just let you take that risk. Funny, the idea of seeing you hurt pains my heart. We stood at a standstill for so long that the Duchess had a set of white pieces shuffle in and take their spots on the board. One of us had to be the human chess piece. We know it goes just about well either way. I'm not sure which would be more white. Alright. Okay. Just to see... Whoa. You are the same entity as the Red Queen. I can't let you go, don't you understand? I see. To take my revenge, you have to die, Alice. Ooh! I was remembering something very important. I landed in a Wonderland not quite right, one where the hourglass of time had reversed. Looking upward, I found a sky distorted and stirring with darkness that amplified my phantom headache that throbbed despite losing its cause. I placed a hand to my head, feeling a smooth skin where the hammer had struck. Like the first time, what should have been the first time, the first being I met was the White Rabbit. Like Wonderland, today she seemed different, crueler. An unrestrained black danced in the back of her eyes. Your Majesty? The rabbit greeted me as if I were the Red Queen. No, perhaps I was. Alice, perhaps you were. Not bothering to acknowledge her, I let her continue speaking, saying what she had to say to the Red Queen in that obsequious tone of voice. Did you wish to visit Her Majesty the White Queen today? Yes. I gestured for her to lead the way. Following only a pace after the rabbit, I walked down an familiar path. Wonderland was quiet, much quieter than I was accustomed to, even the grass wilting away from my presence, not to speak of the animals. Report on Her Majesty the White Queen's affairs. As punishment for her previous transgressions, we've been regulating her sleep to 1-hour intervals as ordered. Oh. She has been much quieter as of the late. I hope that she will learn the errors of her ways for disrespecting Your Majesty. Additionally, as per your orders, we have put her on a dietary restriction to regulate her weight. Oh. We found that some chefs have been sneaking her extra food. The chefs responsible have been sent to do hard labor. Is that so? The rabbit talked about the usual things. Walking, we arrived at a tall tree at a large bird cage, location I recognized from when I had obtained the Red Queen's right leg once upon a time. Your Majesty's mood has been strange today. Could it be? Are you questioning me, Rabbit? My sincerest apologies, Your Majesty. Leave. Bowing profusely, the rabbit backed away and scampered off. I approached the birdcage, finding a pretty white bird locked within. No, I found the White Queen locked within that birdcage, much too cold. Liz, how would you catch her if you let her go free? She looked skinny, desperate, as if she had lost all hope. Just as a flower would wither once picked, a bird too would be, if locked away from its sky. The White Queen was a human, not a bird. She was a person, not an animal. I knew that. Alice, I also knew that. I grasped a metal bar of the cage. White Queen. I have nothing to say to you, Red Queen. Her eyes betrayed an expression that could not be called hate. A complicated expression. A strange expression. One all too familiar. You won't even bother to treat me softly today after everything you had done to me. Rather than the Red Queen, I am Alice. A doubted myself, remembering the Hatter's expression for a moment. You said that you could see the future, White Queen. I suppose. It must have been a joke, as I've expected if you've yet to know who I am. We meet in another Wonderland. I may have fallen in love. Maybe my affections were one-sided. In a terribly beautiful garden, I was lost, chasing after a rabbit in confusion after falling down a rabbit hole into another world. I told the White Queen about my adventures in Wonderland. Then I came here and met the White Rabbit, who led me to you. I believe you. I want to. How fantastical that would be. I felt the same way, speaking about the quest that dull Alice, had found myself embarking on, upon falling through an endless void. Only a miracle could have brought me here to meet her, all the others in Wonderland. Can you make the me of the future happy? I wonder. After all, my White Queen had always been looking far away. No, you wanted to leave after all. Remembering the key I obtained in a previous Wonderland, I checked my pocket and pulled out that very key. Take this. Holding it in a closed fist, I passed the key to the White Queen through the cage bars. She took the key with trembling hands, gripping it tightly as if the metal would disappear. Knowing that having the key was a risk, she hid the key away in her dress. Perhaps she would use it to escape from the Red Queen. Your Majesty, urgent news. There has been an incident in court with the guards. The rabbit's sudden reappearance forced our conversation to a halt. The Red Queen will kill them all. Don't go. The White Queen gestured to me, telling me to lean in closer to her. She moved up to the bars of the cage as close to me as she could come. Until later, Alice. Then she gave me a peck on the cheek. And falling. I was falling once more. I fell down, and down through a sparkling, shining darkness. Too bright to be dark, too dark to be bright. I recognized this darkness now. I wanted to be chasing after someone, after something. Oh. Falling, I fell until I landed, and saw the night sky above me. Hello. Before me laid out was a scene between the Red Queen and the White Queen. I was like a spirit, invisible to all who were present. The Red Queen was on the ground before the White Queen, a sword in the White Queen's hand. The blade glittered in the moonlight, betraying its sharpened edge. Behind the White Queen stood a group of denizens of Wonderland. Off with their heads for the crime of treason. Red Queen's shoulders shook once in surprise that nothing happened. Not a single head went flying with mysterious force. They're my citizens now, Red Queen. You may not touch them. Your right only extends to those you have subjugated, not mine. You were once sole ruler of Wonderland, but now you have lost. I united this dirty, broken world, and tried to make everything right. Protect the people, uphold the law, bring order to Wonderland, and find its peace. In which way was I wrong? Red must spill for peace, but it seems some people prefer freedom over all else. We were born into space and time were created at the genesis of this world. We were the only two existences of this distorted Wonderland. Therefore, given such power, we were to be rulers of Wonderland with divine right. The only two existences of this distorted Wonderland. Are they one and the same? You were the one who gave it away first because you were weak, so I took all the responsibility onto myself. Because I loved you. Were you not happy within my cage? Protected from the outside world? We are the only two of our kind in this world. If you did not care for this place, then I let you live a beautiful life within a cage. Let you stay beautifully white. I loved you dearly, White Queen. But you were the same as everyone else. Traitor. I'm almost sad. No, heartbroken. But what choice do I have now? White Queen, you'll cut me down now, won't you? Or will you continue to be a coward? Show me your conviction to betray me. There can only be one victor if we are to be pitted against each other. I couldn't see the Red Queen's expression. I loved you. I betrayed you. You were the one who betrayed me first. The White Queen raised her sword and cut. Limb. Sharp pain shot up my arm, even though I was not the one who was cut. Who betrayed who first? You who are in charge of time. Ooh, a second limb. I squirmed as I tried to grab at a wound that did not exist within an arm that my brain screamed was no longer attached. It hurt, but no red came out of me. You should know better than me. A third limb. A final limb. Blood splattered over the White Queen's dress, staining it red. Red as the Red Queen's body shook. In agony, I gasped. My vision shook, tilting as I lost equilibrium and filling with tears. I collapsed to the ground and writhed, even though my limbs were still intact. I didn't even know what to clutch at, what to clutch with. You're also a sadist, aren't you? I'm just angry. Finally, off went her head. Once, twice, thrice. White Queen hacked at the Red Queen's neck as if taking out her frustration on a neck already severed. My consciousness snapped. My vision blacked out. A sound of cheering brought me back to this Wonderland's reality. The once quiet crowd began to celebrate at the dismemberment. At the dismembered Red Queen. We're free! The tyrant is dead. Your Majesty, the White Queen, won't you be the new ruler of Wonderland? No. Her voice was quiet, fragile. I would appreciate if you would all keep news of this murder quiet. She did not turn around, not wanting to show the difficult expression that found its way onto her face. Knowing the joyous clamoring of her people, White Queen looked down at the Red Queen's corpse. So the White Queen was the one who dismembered the Red Queen. I choked out a pained laugh at the revelation, grabbing at my neck to ascertain that I had my head. I was dying. I was dying. I was dying. Yet I wasn't dying. I was still intact. The one who had been dismembered was the Red Queen. However, we were nearly one and the same. Alice. The White Queen's whisper broke me out of her stupor, her gaze landing directly on me to the point that our eyes met, and she would not look away. She walked forward 2 steps, both towards the Red Queen's corpse and towards me. Alice. Reaching out a hand, she tugged at my ephemeral form. Then I was falling. Falling. I was falling again. Raging phantom pain that sent me nearly catatonic faded with a chilly sensation reminiscent of the White Queen. In this deep, deep rabbit hole where time was but an illusion, I fell and healed. It was Alice. It was the Red Queen. We were the one and the same, but divergent. The voice within my heart quieted till she no longer spoke. Well, this is an interesting outcome. I still held that one certainty. I was Alice. Alice was me. Even now that wasn't wrong, but I was also the lonesome Red Queen. And what could have been for her? She who had been killed at the end. What madness. We were both our own madnesses, but I wanted not to be my own tragedy. I fell forward into my relative present and hit the ground softly. Laying back flat on the ground, I grasped the grass below me and found that the blades were soft, gentle even. Above me, the sky was devoid of stars. No, it was still daytime, so I should have instead said that the sky was blue. terribly blue. I forced myself up to my feet, surveying a wonderland that I'd learned to know. It was no longer the Red Queen's wonderland. It was not the White Queen's either. Thinking about the White Queen, I wanted to talk with her. No, Alice, you've got to finish your matter first. My mind drifted off to a pair of mismatched eyes. Hatter? I sought out the Hatter, coming to the Hatter's place that had always been at tea time, regardless of morning, noon, or night. Looking left, right, up, down, I could not find the Hatter anywhere in sight. The table of tea things stood untouched. On the ground was a bloodied hammer. When I went around to my armchair, it still held its usual odd smell. Red Queen's corpse was nowhere to be seen, but that mattered not. The only thing truly missing was the Hatter. I understood. In my heart, I understood that there was no more Hatter in Wonderland. The Hatter had completed her revenge. One and only final task. Checking the table, I saw that familiar pair of puppets, the March Hare and the Dormouse. I picked them up just for a moment, looking at their carefully stitched parts that desperately tried to hide that they were but cloth. Then I put them down gently. I'm sorry, Hatter. I left the Hatter's place, knowing that I would no longer find her here in Wonderland. Lonely. I felt lonely. I wandered about and inadvertently walked my way to the White Queen's garden. I saw the White Queen, who appeared the same as usual. In a chair across from her sat the Red Queen's corpse. The Red Queen did not fit in this pure garden. She and the White Queen must have had a conversation here. Alice, how long has it been since we last met? Much too long. I'm sure you must have questions. Allow me to explain why I instructed you to seek out the Red Queen when the Red Queen was already dead. We, the Queens of Wonderland, were created with a power within us. I hold power over Wonderland's time. She held power over Wonderland's essence, its space and boundaries. And a remnant of that power can send you back home. With her corpse gathered, that power can be used. I know. I felt the power take root in my soul. So you do. It's time for you to depart from this imperfect Wonderland, Alice. Wait. I like you. I love you. To spend more time with you, White Queen. You're always looking far away towards the Red Queen. So I wish you would look back at me. She carved herself into my heart, irreparably. A long, long time ago she was... Even though she caged me away, even though I was the one who killed her. How odd. I still cannot put into words what I feel towards her. The Red Queen began to disappear, dissolving into tiny lights. Her corpse faded away as if her role in this world was no longer needed. I saw the Red Queen mouth a few words, but I knew that they were not meant for me. I'm sorry, that was inappropriate of me to say. Perhaps I had long been rejected. No. At first I saw you and thought of the Red Queen. I thought that you could be her. You probably don't remember. But that was why I dragged you through time. Time and time again, pulling you from a time where by a miracle you fell down the rabbit hole into another Wonderland. That was my obsession. Pulling us through time. With her. Eventually I learned that you were different. You were Alice. Perhaps part of your existences are similar. I could call you her of another world. Her, you of another world. But you alone are Alice, and I fell in love with you. She has dominion over time. Red Queen has dominion over space and boundaries. All these times we seem to jump around through time. Where it seems like we legitimately just kinda... Like, there was a time we started out as Alice. Somehow something broke and we wound up sorta in with the Red Queen. She took control, but Alice was still there. In a way. Apparently, we to believe that Queen was responsible for keeping Alice kind, soft Alice who can be a little strange. Alice who chases after her goals. Alice who somehow fell in love with someone like me. Yes, I think it's a miracle that we met here in this Wonderland. Maybe I can begin to heal. I love you, Alice. Not the way that I don't know what to feel about the Red Queen, but from the depths of my heart, I love you. White Queen pressed a kiss on my lips. My heart raced. I hadn't thought that she would reciprocate my feelings. Tears welled up in my eyes, dripping down my cheeks in disbelief. Kiss me again. We kissed again, clumsily. White Queen, I love you. I wish that this world were more perfect so that we could be together. Despite what goes on in our hearts, it is still time for you to depart. You have to leave, Alice. Go back home, to your own world. Come with me. I can't, Alice. This world will fall apart now that the Red Queen is truly dead. I've drained my power as well in my selfishness. This imperfect Wonderland was a miracle. I'm glad I was able to meet you. I wanted to stay here by her side. White Queen. Truly. She put a hand on my shoulder. Goodbye. And pushed. Then I was falling. I tried to go back up, but the Red Queen's power wouldn't respond. As the gate to return to my own world opened, the power evaporated. Falling, falling, falling. I was falling. The White Queen. I wanted to go back to the White Queen. Alice, who never quite wanted anything so much, wanted to take her hand again, to see her again, steal a happy ending together with her. Yet no matter what I did, I continued to fall through this darkness too bright. Falling, I left Wonderland and could no longer return. If this were the case, I would have rather forgotten. I'd rather have forgotten something very important, if I knew that I would remember everything that happened in Wonderland. I fell until I could fall no more. Hitting the ground, I opened my eyes to reality, seeing my family's house in the distance. The sky was blue, still terribly blue. I started crying. My shoulders shook. Hearing as my sisters rushed over to ask what was wrong. I wished and wished to see her again. Surely we would meet again in a reality more wonderful than a dream. One day, while out on a walk with the cats, I stumbled into a girl with white hair. Alice? Oh? Oh! Oh! Wishes do come true. And it's really sweet. I will admit I did not expect this to necessarily go this route. It kind of josses some really meta thoughts. plot ideas that were going on in my head, but makes piecing together 85%. Almost there, dogs. Makes kind of piecing together the timeline here. One more dead end to get. It's piecing together the timeline here. A bit challenging. This was the last CG that we had. Night the White Queen killed the Red Queen. That scene kind of fills in some gaps. Raises other questions, though. Mainly regarding what exactly when did Alice fall into this world, and what exactly has the White Queen done with her all this time? So I get the impression that at some point in time, Alice and the White Queen were separate entities, which is the sort of past scenario we have a chance of seeing with Hatter. It's definitely Alice and not the Red Queen. Some point along the line, Alice, either from being killed and coming back enough times, or just whatnot, sort of fades out and gets absorbed by the Red Queen to some extent. Maybe he was just that way from the get-go. It seemed like the story, from what we understand, is that the White Queen and the Red Queen existed in this Wonderland from the beginning. They were initially equals, but the Red Queen was crueler and took control, and essentially imprisoned and abused the White Queen for so long. But at some point, Alice fell into Wonderland and became a sort of entity, spirit, intertwined with the Red Queen, which the White Queen could see and acknowledge, and got to know to some degree in those moments when Alice was in control. And if I'm understanding things right, the White Queen is the one who kind of pulled her through time. Sorts kept this Alice going. Once she acknowledged that this Alice was distinct from the Red Queen. And once she killed the Red Queen, in theory, Alice could manifest as herself again. I will say my original thought, theory of sorts, in terms of things here was that I'll go my I'll admit what my full reckless speculation was. Most of this was Jost, but at the time I was kind of thinking about that one scene where Alice was talking about her family, her two cats. One's with white fur, who's a bit of an angel, and the black cat, who's a bit of a devil. And I thought was that this was a sort of dying dream of Alice's. That's why she was kind of going back and forth, always falling at various points in time. Things were fine at a time, and then things started spiraling out of control and becoming darker. And at the very end, when things were finally ending, Alice was dying. The ultimate outcome, you could still get something out of this involving the Red Queen. Being the sort of prison she was theoretically in her real life. Once she was finally able to shed that side of her, she then the world faded away and she was able to return to reality, so to speak. Like that was isolating her from her family to some degree, even though she did naturally feel isolated from them, I believe, to some extent. I wonder if that's, to some degree, the core of Alice and the Red Queen. In a way, I like that we don't get the clear answers. It gives me a chance to making me think, making me think about what could possibly be the case. It's makes an interesting world with interesting, charming characters in a way. Dark twist that really, I won't say caught me off guard, but really adds an interesting wrinkle to each of these each of these charming characters. White Rabbit, the energetic, obedient, but really cruel and sadistic. Holy shit! White Rabbit likes capital punishment. Yeah, White Rabbit. She had some fucked up sensibilities there. Red Queen obviously is the most destructive and mad of the bunch. White Queen had her own sadistic side. A bit of a clearly our two love interests were clearly the most sympathetic characters in all this. They both have their darkness, and yet you can come away from this really feeling awful for what they've been through. White Queen suffering for the longest time at the hands of the Red Queen, and having this complicated relationship with her. Not a not a healthy relationship in the slightest, but complicated that in that yeah, it's a sort of relationship that's not good but hard to leave behind, so to speak. And Hatter obviously having a long-standing grudge, losing her only friends to the Red Queen. They both want to assemble the Red Queen to some degree. In a sense, Hatter is very Cheshire adjacent. Both were punished by the Red Queen. Both don't want to see another Red Queen return. Well, in the matter that Hatter wants to assemble the Red Queen. in essence, that seemingly assembling the Red Queen leads to Alice taking on the power that she held and killing the Red Queen for good, really. In the White Queen's way, the Red Queen passes on, Alice takes on her power, and then is able to leave. And with that, Wonderland collapses around them. In Hatter's case, Red Queen is assembled. In essence, Alice acknowledges the truth of the Red Queen, inadvertently takes on her power, and Hatter can now kill her and get her revenge. But in essence, you could say that in theory, in both cases, Alice comes back from that thanks to the White Queen's manipulations of time. One last time. And no matter what, Red Queen fades away, Alice takes on the power. The world collapses, Alice leaves. Ultimately, that's the end we reach, no matter who we fall in love with. No matter what, our best endings, Alice returns home. Either she tries to repent for her crueler nature, the Red Queen ending. She asserts her own self, the Alice ending, dances with the Hatter. Or she wants to see the White Queen freed and living happily. And does eventually meet her again, in some shape or form, in reality. It's sad. Well. I think that about covers everything I wanted to cover, involving my thoughts about the story. It's the fact that I can get this much conversation without feeling like I'm prattling on. Tells you what I thought of things here. I love it when I love a good story like this. That give you a satisfying story, but there's also enough there that you can try and theorize and piece together the finer points of it. But for that matter, we got some completion to get yet, right? We got 5% to see yet. We'll be right back. A bit of new dialogue if we offer our own arm on this, the White Queen romance route. While I watched, she met my gaze from far away and mouthed the words I could not decipher. Alice, did you like her? Or was this emotion in your chest something else? How unpleasant watching her in the hands of another. Still comes off very Red Queen-like there. Now let's be the playing piece now. Let me. Oh. The White Queen directed me to step onto the board as the king piece. While I was given a fake white crown and sword, I was to stay out of danger. She started with the first move. With each command she gave to the human chess pieces, she came closer and closer to a speedy victory against the Duchess. Black pieces fell one by one. And then the Duchess spoke. Did you want to keep her in a cage like you were? Ooh. The White Queen stumbled, directing her knight to a position that she did not intend for him to go, allowing him to be cut down by the Duchess's pawn. The Duchess was a distraction. White Queen. No, a Duchess on a piece on the board cannot speak. We are the players, and you are but a game piece. Sending the Duchess a dirty look, I shut my mouth. The shackles that our dearest majesty bound you with have still not been removed, despite all that you have done. Why is that? My matters do not need to be spoken of. There is the still remaining question. That day we found her in the bird cage. The White Queen made a series of bad moves that the Duchess talked. This is unhealthy, Your Majesty, the White Queen. For long, the losses on both sides of the board evened out. Taking advantage of the White Queen's state of disarray, the Duchess began her assault. One by one, the remaining white pieces fell. Blood spilled on the floor, staining white armor red. The red made the White Queen shiver and avert her eyes with pursed lips. Uh-oh. The Black Queen came before me, and both the White Queen and I saw no way out. This is our loss. Checkmate. Raised my sword to block as the Black Queen raised her own, expecting nothing more than a mock show of swordplay, followed by my surrender. However, her blade came rushing down towards me at a sharp clang. The sword in my one-handed grasp went flying. Her sword cut into my flesh as if I were made of butter, ripping out a swath of meat and blood onto the floor. Choking in pain, I toppled to the ground and tried to stop the bleeding. Red spurted all over my single hand that shakily pressed against the wound, but too much large. The Black Queen kicked my head like a ball with an ugly snap, forcing me down even further, before stomping down on the freshly cut wound. I tried to drag myself away with my bloodied single arm. She skewered me to the ground with her sword and stepped down onto my arm with her armored black foot, pressing down to the elbow, till we all heard a loud crack. Ugh! A contorted voice escaped my mouth. Cold tears welled up in my eyes. I thought you would have liked this. No, not Alice. I heard a thump as the White Queen fell to her knees, her expression blurred in my hazy vision. Poor dear. The Black Queen stomped down on me again, washing my insides out from the whole of my body with a squelch. Things that were never meant to come out dribbled to the ground. I tried to call out to the White Queen, but only chunks of squishy material came up to my throat in a wheezing red noise. You can't let go even after all you did. Your White Majesty, even if your domain is time, are you aware that your own heart's time seems to have stopped? That is a good point. Everything turned to darkness. Tick. Must we try again? Talk. White Queen is actively bringing us back when we hit dead ends. 97. Got all our endings, though. I might still poke around to see if there's anything we can see. Well, it's just one thing we could do yet. I think out of yawn, I realized I needed a place to sleep for the night. Thought back to the parties who had helped me on my adventure to gather the White Queen, Red Queen's dismembered parts. Surely I could find one of them. White Queen. Thinking to the eternal tea time of the Hatter, I decided that seeking out the White Queen would be more productive. Dropped the limb off at the Hatter's place, thinking that bringing a piece of a dismembered person's body to the White Queen again wouldn't be quite appropriate. Walked to the White Queen's garden. This was a pretty place, and she, a pretty person as before. She was watching the distance, looking at I don't know what. But if my gaze toward her was like her gaze toward her object. Alice, you weren't the one she wanted. Hello? Yes, but I was the one in front of her right now. Good evening, Alice. It's almost time for dinner. Would you like to stay for a meal? Is it that time already? The question made me realize the time once more. I would love to. Before long, a beautiful array of foods found its way onto the table, carried over by what seemed like magic, was in fact little fairy lights. First came the appetizer. Put a forkful in my mouth and tasted nothing. Bland. I haven't felt particularly hungry since I came to this world. I felt a little thirst, a little hunger, a little urge to expel waste, all inconvenient facets of a mortal life. Perhaps this really was a dream. I know. This world must appear like a place of dreams. I picked up the food, my fork clinking against the plate as I moved items back and forth. She looked like a doll. Perfectly practiced table manners, indifferent expressions. Nothing told me what she felt, only that she would complete this task of eating. Main course arrived soon enough. This was also bland. Bland, answered my Gordon Ramsay voice. Bland. Bland. Fucking hell. Silence fell on the dinner table. Certainly speaking too much during a meal was frowned upon by some, but this was much too polite. What sort of upbringing did she have? The queen was a queen, but I knew not which country she ruled, nor what courtiers she had. This white queen was a mystery. My fork and knife clinked listlessly against the plate. Eventually dinner came to a close with dessert. As the little cakes were delivered to the table by the same servants, I perked up at the sight of sweets. I took a bite. Bland. The cake tasted too light. As I looked down at the cake in disappointment, I heard a choking cough. Water. The cakes must have gotten switched. Eh? How so? A sweeter one for Alice and a lighter one for me was the plan. With the cakes decorated the same, someone must have mixed them up. Oh, that was so surprisingly thoughtful of her. Although her plans backfired, I felt a tinge of guilt for wondering if she had tried to feed me something strange. I could still eat it. Oh, I don't mean to tell you to eat something I've taken a bite of. Indirect kiss. Well, no, I'll have them replaced. She called the fairies over again, and they left the cakes. When they returned, they delivered new desserts. Well, ice cream sort of thing to the table. I picked up a spoon and watched as the utensils sank into the white sweet. And when I moved to take a scoop, I placed a spoonful in my mouth. Damn, bland. A chili sweet and creamy melted on my tongue. Oh, not bland. Delicious. I'm glad. I am unused to strong flavors. Although I liked them as a child, I can no longer recall the feelings I had back then. I had a time not too long ago when I was not allowed to eat many things or do many things at all. Ah. I feel apologetic to the chef. Just that I've become so accustomed. So even though she's gone, she looked somewhere far away, but soon refocused on me. Her ice cream began to melt onto her spoon, and she unconsciously stirred it like a cup of tea. To live, one must eat and drink. That is what it means to be human. Human? I don't enjoy eating, but I rather do like tea. Should I be considered halfway there? Although it's also like something I picked up from her. Must feel bored listening to me talk about this, Alice. Picked up your love of tea from her? No, not at all. I want to know more about you. If I had to choose if I liked or disliked the White Queen, I would have to say I liked her. Deep within my heart, I had an inexplicable emotion towards her that I could not identify. But I had no reason to feel. After the desserts were done with, we talked a little more, mostly about useless little things. It's late now. Would you like to stay for the night? I would appreciate it. I have no place to go here anyhow. After a while more, we departed from our position in the garden. She brought me to a guest room, walking before me under the starry night sky. Good night, Alice. Will you head to bed as well? In a while, if I can. The little voice told me she couldn't sleep very well. To live, one must also sleep, White Queen. Good night. While heading to bed, I felt a haze of fatigue overcome my mind. My eyelids grew heavy, and I fell into a deep slumber. Surely I was dreaming within a dream. Dreamed of blood. Next day, the day after, I continued my search for the Red Queen's parts. Okay, and we're back. Upon my response to the doorbell, she immediately brightened up. If it would make the Hatter happy, I didn't see why not just play along. Arm. Setting aside her puppet friends, she extended an open palm toward me. Proceeded to commit lèse-majesté by tossing the limb over the Hatter's tea table to her. Alright, tea time resumes. 99%. Almost there. When you assemble the White Queen, you come and visit me again. Yes, I will. Her words reminded me that once I left Wonderland, no longer could I come and find her at this garden. We'd be separated by worlds and never meet again. Surely. You look terrible right now, Alice. Again. Like us! Like us! Like us! I'm tired. This is a small thing, but doing the party first before chasing down Cheshire. Thought back to the Cheshire Cat's taunting provocations. Thinking of her taunting flick, I had no idea where she could be, for she always appeared and disappeared as she pleased. Small thing, but... And that was it. That was the missing piece. 100%. Yeah, baby. Did it. Dormouse. March hare. Left arm of the forbidden one. Left leg of the forbidden one. Right arm of the forbidden one. Right leg of the forbidden one. Mushroom of the forbidden one. Toadstool, rather. Bird. But alas, Alice? Perhaps this is the answer to the question the title screen poses. Who is the Red Queen? Alice? Okay. That was a bit of fun going back. Getting what we were missing. I think it's time for us to leave Wonderland behind. I think we pretty much have enough of an understanding of what happened here. So it's time for us to return to reality at long last. And leave that, that Wonderland with just a tinge of cruelty behind. Just a tinge of cruelty. Wonderland that was taken over by cruelty. Ruled with an iron fist. The big brain theory crafter in me still has thoughts about how it's a battle of two sides of Alice's personality, in the Red Queen and the White Queen, but there's enough there to tell us that this is a very real, fantastical journey. That's a very intentional oxymoron. It's me. First name Oxy, last name Moron. But enough about that. We've had our fun. It's time for tea time to end. I hope you enjoyed this journey. Got a lot more out of that than I expected. We'll see you down at the rabbit hole some other time, perhaps. Until then, thanks for watching.